think overall it's the experience of just being raised by my mom. She was
Okay.
always, you know,
Family legacy. Yes.
yes, she was always, she didn't say it this way, but you were expected to do the right things, make the right choices, whether that, getting up to the dinner table, asking to be excused, putting your plate on the counter,
Wow.
just
Wow. Details too.
working
That's
right.
details too, right?
So that's a funny story that I just told the kids too. She was very detail oriented, and
Uh-huh.
when I was younger, I was a little aloof, just kind of happy
Okay.
go lucky. So I'd
Yeah,
miss
yeah.
some things, and my nickname back home was Butchie. She'd be like, "Details, Butchie." I'm like, "Oh, I forgot something again." So I go back, but that's something that sticks to me to this day as I'm going through and trying to make sure I have
Man, I
all
love that. I
everything
love that.
covered. That goes through my head, but it was just those little things, and being the youngest of four boys, she had to be on top of all four of us, making sure we were staying out of trouble.
Time out. Time out. Let me ask you this. What if the gap between where you are today and where you want to be isn't talent? It's how you're training when no one's watching. That's what this studio podcast is all about. We don't chase motivation. We don't hype potential. We build identity through habits, standards, and systems. This is where student athletes, parents, coaches, and leaders come to sharpen how they think, prepare, and perform. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast. What's going on, family? Coach Randy here, and welcome back to the Built Different Studio Podcast, where we break down the mindset, systems, and habits that build champions in school, sport, and life. Let me ask you something. What makes a great coach? Is it knowledge of the game? Is it strategy? Is it the playbook? Or is it something deeper? Because if you talk to athletes years after they graduate, they rarely remember the exact plays that were called, but they always remember how a coach made them feel. Did the coach believe in them? Did the coach challenge them? Did the coach treat them with respect? Our guest today understands that leadership is built on those foundations. Christian Rago is an advanced fitness instructor, head football coach, and assistant athletic director who believes the heart of a great program starts with doing the right thing and treating everyone with dignity and respect. And the part I respect most about Christian is that he doesn't just teach these standards, he works to live them every day. Through years of coaching experience and reflection, he has evolved from a young coach focused on schemes and playbooks into a leader focused on relationships and developing young people. So important. But don't mistake that for being soft, right? Because his players are still held to a high standard. They're expected to do things the right way, to show discipline, to show character, and to represent the program with pride. So today, we're gonna talk leadership. We're gonna talk consistency, relationships, and the small moments that build great programs. Family, please help me welcome Advanced Fitness Instructor, head football coach, and assistant athletic director, Christian Rago. Welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, we're excited to have you on the show, Christian. But before we dive into your leadership philosophy and coaching journey, I want to start with your story. Tell us about your path into coaching and education and what experiences helped shape the leader you are today.
So originally, I'm from Woodstock, Illinois.
Okay.
I went to Woodstock High School, and so I played football all 4 years there. I've always liked football. I wanted to play since I was a little kid. I don't really know why. We watch baseball, hockey, basketball at my house.
Sure,
football.
sure.
But for me, it just that's the sport I went to. Started playing in 7th grade, and I always knew I either wanted to play in the NFL, which I stopped growing at 5'9", and I was a little slow, so that dream went away pretty quick. But I always wanted to be a part of it, and I knew I wanted to coach. So in high school, I started, I think as most guys do, like I was drawing up playbooks in my notebook instead of taking notes, and all those things, and that continued through college as a player, and I would go back in college and actually coach at my old high school and help with their summer camp.
Oh, really? So wait, I want to clarify. Did you played at the next level? You played after high school?
Yeah, so I played at Aurora University.
Oh, wow. Nice. Okay. So I don't know the exact number, but for football, but playing at any level, D1, D2, D3, I mean, it's sub 10%, right? In terms of high school players playing at the next level. So you got that eliteness. No, thanks for sharing that. What position did you play in college?
I played outside linebacker.
Oh, okay. All right. So you got the vision and seeing how everything develops and things happen before they actually do. Okay, go ahead. Continue your story.
Yes, and so after high school, so growing up in Woodstock, it was a pretty big football town. So I always just knew I wanted to play for Woodstock High School. I wanted to be a Blue Sheet.
Okay.
And after your last game, you kind of got to figure out, all right, what's next? I knew I wanted to continue to play. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to college, but it was my mom gave me the ultimatum: find a job or go to college.
Okay.
And I knew I wanted to play football, so I was like, okay, I'll find a school I can play at, which ended up being Aurora University. So went there, played all 4 years, and actually ended up meeting my wife there as well. She played soccer. So really, without football, I don't meet my wife, and I don't have my 2 kids I have right now. So that's just kind of the start of how important the game is to me. After going to Aurora, I knew I wanted to coach, and I got a taste for college coaching. I volunteered that spring with the new head coach that they hired there, Coach Rick Ponks. And their offensive coordinator, Eric Studeman, let me come and help out with the quarterbacks. And from there, I kind of got my first taste of like, oh, you can coach football and that can be your job. So I'm like, all right, I think I want to coach college now. Because I originally went to school to be a PE teacher. So I thought I was going to coach high school football, be a PE teacher. Didn't really enjoy those classes as much. So I changed to psychology, thinking, all right, I'd be a guidance counselor and a high school coach. And then got my degree in psychology, got that taste of college coaching. And I was like, you know what? I think I just want to coach football and not worry about anything else. So after that spring, I actually moved out to Montana for a year. Slept on a guy's couch and coached at a NAI school out there, Montana State University Northern.
Oh, yeah. I know Montana State. Yeah, what is their logo again, or their mascot?
They're the Lights, so they're the Northern Lights.
Okay. Yeah, I think they have a relatively good basketball team too, I believe.
Yeah, and so I went out there, and I actually the offensive line coach played at the private school in Woodstock. And I had no idea, so I went out there, and he let me stay on his couch, and I ended up coaching running backs. We went through the season, and then after that, they got a new head coach, and I just felt it was best to go back home, kind of figure out, where I'm going to go from here. Coach Ponks at Aurora called me back, and he's like, hey, we need a graduate assistant. If you're interested, we'd like you to come interview for that.
Okay, so back to your alma mater again then. Wow,
yeah.
Okay.
So I went in there, I interviewed, and then they offered me the position, so I became the offensive graduate assistant there. I did all the hard work, the dirty jobs, breaking down all the film and driving buses and stuff. But also, I'm very lucky to be with the staff. Eric Studeman, who's now the offensive coordinator at North Central College. He was the offensive coordinator there. So I worked closely with him, and he treated me like an assistant coach. He gave me game planning responsibilities. I coached my own position. He took my input, and he asked for it. He gave me like game day duties. I was in charge of subbing the running backs in and out my last year, and he just was very trusting, and any question I had, he answered. I was never a nuisance to him. Wow. It was just a great experience. Yes. And Coach Ponks is just a great person, which a lot of my philosophies stem from what he was doing there to build those young men up.
Oh man, I love that. I mean, I could totally see your story from player, or even not even a player, just wanting to play football, to being a player, to being an assistant coach, to being a coach. Wow. Christian, when you say you are built different because you strive to live the standards of doing the right thing and treating everyone with dignity and respect every day, what experiences help shape that mindset and commitment to consistency?
I think overall it's the experience of just being raised by my mom. She was always,
family legacy. Yes.
She was always, she didn't say it this way, but you were expected to do the right things, make the right choices, whether that, getting up to the dinner table, asking to be excused, putting your plate on the counter.
Work, details too. That's details too, right?
So that's a funny story that I just told the kids too. She was very detail oriented, and she, when I was younger, I was a little aloof, just kind of happy-go-lucky. So I missed some things, and my nickname back home was Butchie. She'd be like, "Details, Butchie." I'm like, oh, I forgot something again. So I go back, and that's something that sticks to me to this day as I'm going through and trying to make sure I have everything covered. That goes through my head, but it was just those little things, and being the youngest of 4 boys, she had to be on top of all 4 of us, making sure, we were staying out of trouble. So it really stems from that. And then just being able to have great role models around me. Like I said, I had 4 older brothers who,
Okay.
they made great decisions. They did
Did
really
they
good
play
things
sports
in
as
life.
well?
They did. So my 2 older brothers played baseball, and then the one just above me, he played a little bit of baseball, and then he started playing, and then he played football in high school, and then he went on to play at Rolls-Holman Institute of Technology. So he
Oh,
played in
wow.
college as well.
Okay. Oh, that's amazing. They got
Yes.
educated and athletics all at the same time, or education and athletics. So usually what I see with families where you got older brothers, older sisters, you're going to play at the next level, beyond high school if you have older brothers and older sisters to help you there. So you mentioned that consistency is something you work at kind of every day, right? In a world where, call it, athletes face distractions, pressure, constant noise, how do you help your players stay consistent in their habits, their discipline, their mindset, the details that you talked about?
I think a lot of it is just reminding them what the details are and what the expectations are. I mean, nobody's
Expectations.
perfect. Everyone makes those mistakes, but also, phones aren't allowed anywhere in anything that we do. Even like team dinner, they put their phones away. I think that's a huge distraction. And I think that gets them out of the mindset of checking that and then being present with their teammates.
I love that rule. I haven't heard that from any coach that I've been that's been on the show, but I'm gonna start implementing that as well. I mean, yeah, for sure, not in the gym, right? We don't want that in the
Right.
gym, but any team dinners, get-togethers, team building events, phones down, right? Phones down,
And
not
we
allowed.
actually
I
got
like
like
that.
we just have a cardboard box that we have them put it in, and just so they're present with their buddies. I think in the
Sure,
end,
sure.
when you think of, your high school experience and playing sports, like I remember running around at team dinner, being silly and just having
Yeah,
fun. And
yeah.
then just, the moments where you're just together, you're talking, hanging out at a buddy's house. Those are the things I remember most. So I just want to try and give them that experience as much as possible.
I love that again. Yeah, that's so important to, like you said, is just managing expectations, building that culture, right? I could see that. So you also shared earlier in your coaching career, you were very focused on schemes, offenses, defenses. You held some specific coaching roles, right? Quarterback, running backs. But over time, you realized the importance of building relationships with your players. What experiences help you shift your focus from strategy first to relationship first?
I think it was just kind of natural to be in the sport where your team matters so much. I think when you're young, um, that's what you have access to is like the schemes and
Okay.
everything. When you're playing in high school, I didn't really
Sure,
think
sure.
like, oh, I need to build these relationships because they were already built playing with buddies you grew up with. And then in
Yeah,
college,
yeah.
it happens you're living with these guys. But as you get into coaching and you're trying to get the most out of the players, trying to get them to listen to you, what you find is, and I think, I've been around guys who are more yellers. I've been around guys who have, been a little bit quiet. And what I see is like the people, whether they do that or not, are when they build a relationship, the kids know that they actually matter as human beings. They
Yes,
can
yes.
they get the most out of their players. And I still love schemes. I love all that stuff, but you find
Yeah,
out
yeah.
it doesn't matter if the kids don't want to play for you if they think you're just using them. I mean, I feel like, early on in my career, I was like scheme oriented, or, how stats and all this stuff. And then as you grow and you come back and these kids talk to you and they're like, oh yeah, I really just like, being around you, talking to you at these times, or you were very genuine. So people tell you that, you start to kind of rethink like,
That's
okay,
right.
like I'm really impacting these people in a way beyond, oh, hand them off the ball or, run a slant this way. It's really,
Okay, okay.
they want to get to know you.
Yeah, now that evolution is something many great coaches eventually experience because relationships are what give the X's and O's real meaning, right? And when players feel respected, when they feel respected and valued, they tend to rise to higher expectations, right? And run through the wall type of thing. So you describe yourself as a player's coach while still holding athletes to high standards and discipline. How do you balance building strong relationships with players while still maintaining accountability and expectations within the program? Explain to me that balance.
I think the arena in which you're with the kids helps make that difference. Like when you're at practice, when there's downtime, I'll talk to the boys and we'll have some fun. But they have a clear understanding of when we go to certain drills, what we're trying to get done. So we're not goofing around. When we go to like a half line segment, They know the point of half-line is to get as many reps as possible with whatever we're trying to do. So we have to go fast. And then they know that, if they don't do it right, we do a little bit, I guess you'd call old school. We do some clicks for like some mental mistakes. Like if a guy jumps off sides, we'll count an up, down. We usually don't do more than like 5 at a given practice. But just little things to remind them like, hey, these small things matter,
Sure.
And then, after practice, that comes time, and I try to tell my assistant coaches too, like, find one player you don't normally talk to. So if you're the O-line coach, go find a defensive back and just kind of get talking about anything but football. Get to know them a little bit. I mean, I think that's kind of the balance, is understanding what your goal is for the things you're doing. Right? If you're in practice, it's time to work. It's time to get these things done. After practice, all right, let's talk. Let's get to know each other.
I love that. Do you take those kind of relationship building breaks during practice, or do you say it's after practice where it's, coach, go talk to this player, coach, go talk to this, or is it during the practice sessions as well, being intentional?
I think it's during practice as well. There are down times where, if a guy, well, we have about 26 kids on the team, so it's hard to find that downtime where a guy's not, going. But if you have a chance to get a guy out, you can talk to him, absolutely get to know him. And it probably will be quick, 30 seconds of just talking about something else. And then we're back in playing football.
I like that. Okay. Now that balance right there in terms of building trust, building relationship is what creates, strong trust between players and coaches. And when trust exists inside a program, it often leads to something even more powerful. So one of your biggest messages is to take a step back and appreciate the small moments that lead to bigger successes in life. Why is that perspective so important for athletes, coaches, and families today?
I think everything is so, big goal oriented. So if you talk to most coaches, it'd be, like, win a state championship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to win a state championship. I get that. I do too. It'd be an awesome thing to do. But there's steps you have to take to try to get there. It's not going to happen for everybody. So, what are the steps you're taking to make sure that maybe if you don't get there, falling short isn't the end all be all? If you don't win the state championship, it doesn't mean you failed. What are the things you've done to build there? So, for us, the big thing is taking one practice at a time, one segment at a time, one rep at a time. And then also, we had a pretty good season this year, and it hasn't always been the case around the school. So for me personally, like, as the season was going on, I took a step back, and we were winning some games we weren't winning in the past. And the kids were just having fun, and we had some leaders really step up. And so I just want to take a step back and enjoy that, and also see my son comes to practice, see my son in practice with those boys when they're having success and how they treat him. It's just all things I don't want to miss or forget.
Okay.
Like, at the end of every game, we go up in the weight room, we talk what we're thankful for. After each game, I just want to sit and listen to the boys talk and just kind of take in the moment after, the work that they put in.
Yeah. No, that's important. That's important. Yeah, that message really reminds people that success is not just about the final result, just like you said, right? It's about the journey, the growth, the relationship built along the way. Let me ask you, in terms of like, what is like a team motto or phrase or kind of philosophy that you live by? I want to put it on a shirt and market that and sell that online. What is that one phrase that kind of personifies who you are, what you're about?
So we came up with our second year, and it stuck with us, is nobody quits, everybody fights.
I love that. Nobody quits, everybody fights. Okay, explain to me kind of meaning behind that.
So we're a smaller program. Like I said, we have about 26 kids right now. My first year we had 18. Our last game we won in the game was 16. And what you find out is, like, you need everybody. There's no one person can stand off to the side and kind of hide and not play scout. Like, everybody has to be a part of what you're doing. Our coaches run scout team with the kids sometimes. And so you need everybody together. If one person quits on us, we're missing out on a lot. So it's just something our kids work hard. If you've been in a culture where losing was happening, they hear a lot of bad things from people. So it's just trying to bring people together. Nobody quits. We're all in this together, and we all have to continue to fight to be successful, because no one's going to give us anything. No team we play is going to lay down for us because they think they're going to beat us no matter who they are. So you got to come together. You got to all fight together and stick together.
And that's powerful. That has meaning. I can only imagine when you're in the huddle and everyone yells, nobody quits, everybody fights, or, the coach is saying that. That's powerful. Coach Christian, we covered a lot of questions, a lot of feedback. I appreciate it. I want to pass the mic to you in terms of, is there anything that we haven't covered you want to share? It can be related to something we already covered. You want to emphasize something. It can be related to your program, to your school, to your personal life, to our listeners and our audience members. What is one or two things that you want to share with our audience members? Kind of open mic for you.
I just think in a place where I think personally about like football coaching, where especially with social media now, the big thing is like the hours you spend in the office, the time you spend away from your family, and it's still kind of like a trophy. And maybe if you're coaching the NFL, that's great. You're making millions of dollars, your family's taken care of. But like at my level, bring your family with you. If you're a coach, have them be a part of everything you're doing. My kids come to practice. My wife comes to team dinner. Our dog comes around to practice. And, for me, I want to make sure that my players see that. And I've had, players come back and be like, when I saw you hug your son at halftime of one of our games, that meant a lot to me because he didn't have a great relationship with his dad. So I think for me, in a world where you're counting the hours away from your family and it's a badge of honor, make your family a part of what you're doing, because people you're around see that, and it just makes all the difference in the world for what you're trying to build somewhere.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful. Coach Christian, thank you for joining us today and sharing your story, your growth as a coach, and the leadership philosophy that guides your program. What stands out the most from this conversation is the balance you bring to leadership: high standards, strong discipline, and genuine relationships. You've shown that the best programs are built when athletes know two, maybe three things. One, held accountable. Two, they will always be respected. And then three, again, is relationships, right? That kind of leadership leaves a lasting impact on young people long after their playing days are over. You just gave the example where a kid just sees, my coach hugging his son. Coach Christian, thank you again for the work you're doing and developing the athletes and leaders both on and off the field. Family, today's episode reminded us that great programs are not built by accident. They're built through intentional leadership. Coach Christian Rago shared a powerful truth. Standards matter. Consistency matters, but relationships matter just as much. Because in order to accomplish long-term success for student athletes, you need exactly the right mindset, structure, leadership guidance, and strategic planning. Again, Coach Christian, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And this is where Athletic Connect comes in. Through tools and services like the Victory Compass, Power Hour, Mindset Mirror, Goal Sync, Fight On Mentality, Built Different Mindset, and the College Pathway Intelligence, athletes and families get more than inspiration. They get a real framework for growth, a framework that helps them gain clarity, develop elite habits, strengthen their mindset, and make smarter moves for the future. If today's episode resonated with you, don't just listen and move on, apply it. Watch and listen to the Built Different Studio Podcast on all major podcast and video platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And if you believe your story, your leadership, or your journey can impact the next generation, visit www.athletic.connect.com. That's with an IQ, and fill out the application to be on the show. This is bigger than content. This is about building champions in school, sport, and life. Handle today with intention. That's how champions are built. Fight on. Remember this, family. Talent might open the door, but your mindset, your habits, and your discipline decide how far you go. So keep showing up, keep building, and keep choosing the harder road, because that's the one that makes you built different. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast.